with Craner. I'm your host, Lyndon Crane, and this is episode 91. I have a special guest today, Andrew Dowie, MPP, member of provincial parliament in Windsor-Tecumseh, and he's the first one to turn this riding blue in 93 years. It's incredible. It was a record-breaking moment this June for Andrew, and many exciting things have happened since then, being appointed to a parliamentary assistant role to the Minister of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade. He's also a member of the Standing Committee on Finance and Economic Affairs. Now, before jumping into provincial politics, he was also a town councillor in Tecumseh for Ward 1. And I guess, a unique thing about Andrew to add on to this is he's also a civil engineer. And he's one of the only civil engineers in Doug Ford's party. And frankly, probably across all candidates or all elected officials in office right now. So it's a unique perspective that he's providing. And I'm excited to talk about today's interview and what the next 4 years look like for Andrew. Andrew, thanks so much for being here today.
Oh, I'm delighted to be here, Lyndon. Thank you so much for having me.
Every show, Andrew, I have to start off the question relating to coffee. Where in Windsor-Tecumseh, if you had to pick, is your favorite place for coffee? And you can't say your home or your office.
Okay. Well, truth be told, all politics is local. And you know what? The closest coffee shop to me is also what I would say is the best one. That's the Naked Cup. That's on Brighton at the intersection with Old Tecumseh Road, right near the boundary of Tecumseh and Lakeshore. But it is just such a phenomenal place to go and to visit with people. And even to see the transformation of that corner over the years. Previously, the building that was there before was a hairdresser. There was a takeout, an ice cream shop, and now it's been far improved visually, aesthetically, and is really providing a great service. So I don't get there often enough, but when I do get together, I try to make it there.
I think I've been there before too. Is it right near the roundabout off Riverside Drive?
Yes, very close. It is that there's roundabout. There's one at Brighton and Old Tecumseh Road, the south leg. There's a three-way stop at the north leg, which is where the Naked Cup is located at.
Okay, well, it sounds like a place I need to stop at in the near future. Visit again. I know they have great iced coffee, so that's good to hear, Andrew. Thank you. Now, just jumping in a bit before we talk about your exciting role now and what the next 4 years look like for you, I want to just bring it back to when you first started. How did your political career begin with Tecumseh Town Councillor and now an MPP?
Lyndon, I think I'd have to go way back. A defining moment was when my mom brought me to Ottawa, which is where I was this morning, of all places. We decided to take a walk up Sussex Drive, and we ended up outside of 24 Sussex. Lo and behold, the car pulls into the gates, goes in, and then out comes the then Prime Minister, Jean Chrétien, and he took the opportunity to come out and talk to everybody. It was such an awesome experience. Like, this is the Prime Minister, and he's taking the time for me, and taking the time for everybody here. So it really was a reminder of how meaningful it is that someone be listened to, and just to get that opportunity. And I've never forgotten that. And that's it's no wonder to me why Prime Minister Chrétien earned 3 consecutive majority governments at the federal level. So I parlayed that the next year to my when I went to high school at École Secondaire La Salle, for all the egg out there. So I ran for student council after grade 9 for the Ministre des Affaires Académiques. And I won against an established candidate, which was nice. And I won a second time for a different position the year after. And then I had my first election loss when I ran for Prime Minister, but subsequently parlayed that into a win the subsequent year. So that was an important lesson. You don't always win, but you always remember the campaign, and dare I say it, you enjoy the campaign no matter what the result is. And so I certainly encourage those that are considering to run. Make the effort, because you learn a lot about your community, you learn a lot about yourself, and how you can help to improve things. So with that, when I went to university up in the University of Ottawa. I continued on, served in the Engineering Student Society, served on the Residents Association, and on the University Senate for 2 terms. So I continued that. When I got home after graduation, then Town Tecumseh put out their call for committee applications. This is another great way to serve your community. The applications will be out just in a couple of weeks, undoubtedly. And that's for the next 4-year term. So I encourage anyone with an interest in helping out their community to keep an eye on your municipal webpage for the call for nominations. I took the opportunity with the call. I was appointed to the Committee of Adjustment, the Property Standards Committee, and the Essex County Library Board. So those were all great opportunities for me. And I was able to serve without being elected, but very, very terrific experiences. Subsequent to that, I worked, my career had been at the City of Windsor as an engineer. And then one day, I was finishing up a maternity leave coverage, and lo and behold, I got a call from Mayor Eddie Francis. He said, "Come to my office," and he made an offer that could I help him out with some economic development files for a couple of weeks. I said, absolutely. We can't wait to see what it's like on the back end. Well, that couple of weeks turned into 2.5 years. So I can't tell you how appreciative I am of Mayor Francis for his belief in me and bringing me on. I learned a heck of a lot from him. He was a terrific salesperson for the city of Windsor and its potential going forward. I think we're still seeing the fruits of his labor today under the stewardship of Mayor Dilkins, but Mayor Dilkins is also equally doing a phenomenal job. So I ended up learning so much and deciding I wanted to take the plunge myself. So in 2014, I put my name on the ballot in Tecumseh. Only one incumbent had filed, so I thought I'd have a second seat. At the time, my ward had 2 seats. And then as I was preparing, the second incumbent had put their name forward. So I tempered my expectations a bit. I said, I'm going to follow through, win or lose, but understanding it's an uphill battle, and we had 5 candidates. Still on election night, I ended up being in first place. That was such a humbling experience that the people of the community put their faith in me. They had no idea who I was, and they still thought I would do a great job for them. 2018, even though we had a redistribution of the ward, I lost a lot of my good polls. And on top of that, my house got moved outside of the ward. But still, I ended up completing that nomination period being acclaimed. I'd already been door knocking for a couple of months by that point. I finished it off, but that was also a great show of support. And I'm delighted the voters of Tecumseh not only returned me for a 3rd time this summer as their representative with a majority vote in the town, but also that the voters of the city of Windsor came through with a great deal of support for me as well. And I can't be so thankful. I am so thankful for the opportunity to serve today. I mean, every day at the Ontario Legislature here in this building is such a privilege. I'm in awe that I get to do this. There are very, very few that have been able to do this in history. And I'm here to speak up for our community and try to make things better, seek improvement wherever possible, and put our stamp from the Windsor-Essex region inside this government and inside the policies of the province.
Was this always a goal for you, running for office provincially?
Oh, I don't know if it was a goal. I mean, my goal is to make people's lives better as much as possible. It's incredibly rewarding when you can just make someone's day brighter. And so whether it's my professional career as an engineer, I built things, I made neighborhoods look better, and I use design features to do that. But this is another way to serve. And so, you know what, whatever capacity I can serve, I'd like to. But in this case, I would say, you know what, I think I had to at least put my name forward, given the delays we've been seeing with the hospital. And many years of investment stalling. We saw Highway 3 just sputter out after we lost representation in the government. We saw just a lot of our files not moving, and I don't think it's necessarily the incumbent's fault. It is what it is. You've got an adversarial relationship, And so by being able to establish a good relationship based on trust with those in the government, I think you're just better able to serve.
Hmm.
So and I feel that has been the case today. I have an audience, and people do want to hear what I have to say. And we've had a lot of cases, solved or resolved just in the past couple of weeks, and I'm just so happy that we can do that for our constituents.
Hmm. Especially in a short period of time, only been, being in office for what, a month and a half now.
Yeah, it's June 2nd was the election. Officially, that was my first day. However, we didn't take the office over until July 16th. It took a couple more weeks to get internet and get all of our software applications and case management done. So there was a very lengthy onboarding, and still, I just got a key to an office here in Toronto last week. So things move slowly in government, as I think most civil servants can attest to. But we're getting there and getting the job done.
Is it what you thought it would be?
You know what? It is everything I thought it would be, and then some. You know what? There's the cut and thrust of the debate. You play for a team, and so you have to support your team. But honestly, I can't deny that there are compelling criticisms out there. I may not think that they overwhelm the benefits of a piece of legislation, but I
Hmm.
get to learn. I get to learn of the consequences of action, and very very thoroughly consider what happens, and be able to manage accordingly. So I learn a lot as an individual, and learn a lot about the community and what can be done in the community because of being here. And I very much hope to parlay that into improving the services and the opportunities for Ontarians as a result.
Now, just it's been a little over a month that you've been fully integrated into the MPP role. Has there been your fondest moment so far? Something that you're like, wow, that was just a great day to be an MPP or to be running a campaign.
Well, I'll say election day was probably the greatest day. We so many people came out to help. Win or
Hmm.
lose, that you have so many people who are loyal, who are just giving of their time with not getting anything in return,
Yeah.
who show up to say we want to help you,
Hmm.
and we were blessed with that, and so and ultimately the confidence that the community put in. I mean, I was not expecting the level of support, and I'm very grateful for it. And I'm delighted, and I'm honored to be our representative with such a strong mandate, on top of being able to make it. But with the mandate that I had, it tells me that the people of Windsor-Tecumseh want to be part of the solution, and want some positivity after a number of years of pretty down times for us. So,
Hmm.
and that's one thing that I am finding in this government. We're about building things up and solving problems, not being ideological about them, but what's the best way to achieve some problem solving. And so we're off to the races. There's already been a couple bills brought forward, and they're being debated right now. I participated in one today, actually. And so it was my first opportunity to ask a question of the opposition. I earlier asked a question of the government on both on the housing issue. This is something that I know young families and seniors alike, many in our community, are finding it tough to afford to keep the lights on, and to keep a roof over their head. And we really want to find the mechanisms to address that. And that's what does come out in this. That I think everyone's looking to go there.
Hmm.
We differ on how to get there, and sometimes an MPP will say there's a line I won't cross. I can't go for that. So the song goes, that this is a bridge too far. Well, I guess it comes down to your own personal values. What's the best outcome, the process or the outcome? And that's really an ongoing debate, which I think I'm going to be a part of for the next 4 years on a variety of issues.
And now you mentioned participating in one of your first debates, I guess, in the House. Did you ever participate in like a model parliament at all in university or high school or anything like that?
I did in university. I was part of the Liberal Party caucus at something put on at the University of Ottawa. And dare I say it, it wasn't necessarily a partisan decision, but one because it was the most consistent party with my values in that mock parliament.
Hmm.
There was nothing else beyond that really spoke to entrepreneurship and working hard and community driven. Everything was pretty government interventionist, which being a civil servant for almost 20 years, government can do a lot of great things, and I'm proud to have been a civil servant. But there is a role for being focused and really getting to the teeth of what government can excel at, and
Hmm.
not spreading itself so thin. Because when you lack an ability to prioritize, a lot of things fall by the wayside that still need some attention. When you try to do too much, you end up doing too little on a number of different files. So yeah, I had that appearance at that opportunity, and I loved it tremendously.
And it must be cool, maybe you were sitting in the same seat you were in you said high school or university, and now you're working in that room. So it must be a very, great feeling.
It certainly is, and just to be there, and you're among 124 people who have earned
Hmm.
the confidence of their community as well. And so one thing that I think we all need to be reminded of is they're owed some respect. They do represent the views of their community, and
Hmm.
they've earned the confidence of their community.
Yep.
And the partisan jousting, it may be fun, and it may be necessary sometimes, but it's important really to hear the other side. And there is an
Yeah.
inscription in the Ontario legislature that faces the government that says that very thing.
Hmm.
However, I'm on the majority side to start, and so I'm sitting with the opposition today, which is actually one of the best seats of the House, because I hear the very articulate cabinet ministers' statements, and I also hear very well the opposition members' statements too, and where they are finding some reasons to dispute the government's direction. So I have a terrific seat, and I'm very much enjoying it and enjoying taking it all in.
No, now for those watching that are just looking to see Queen's Park, is there anything cool that they can do at Queen's Park? If like, can they sit in on any of these meetings or take a tour, things like that?
Yes, absolutely. So you can let my office know if you wish to come up to Queen's Park. I have the ability to reserve you some seats on the ground floor. I mean, you can come in unannounced and go to the second floor and watch from above.
Hmm.
But if you want to get on the ground floor, you can give our office a call, and I can provide those passes for you to sit in that area. And further to that, if you're from the riding, I can make an announcement that you are there in the presence, so your name will be inscribed in Hansard for time eternal. You can also take a tour of the Ontario Legislature. The tours are about every half hour
Hmm.
on virtually every weekday, both during sittings and outside of sittings. And Queens Park itself is a beautiful park. It's right behind the legislative building. And it's a pretty substantial asset for the city of Toronto, and it's certainly worth a walk. And the ROM, the Royal Ontario Museum, is just on the north end, so there's a lot to see and do just in this parliamentary precinct.
Okay, well, the contact Andrew Dowie, get your box seats. Hopefully, he's not charging an arm and a leg for them.
Yeah.
But no, that's cool that you're offering tours, especially for people in your own riding as well. Now, just before we wrap up, I just want to fast forward a bit and talk about uh, your appointment and being a member of a standing committee and being an MPP. This is your first term as a PC MPP in Windsor-Tecumseh, and you're fairly new to the job. Where do you want to take things in the next 4 years? If you could, sit back once you're done this in what is it, 2026? What are some things that you want to accomplish?
The main thing is ensuring that Windsor-Tecumseh is heard,
Hmm.
and I have the opportunity now to ensure that. I am in constant dialogue with the members of the cabinet and of caucus, and I have that relationship building already, which has just been tremendous. So I can bounce ideas off of them, things that our local stakeholders have been asking for and finding out what's in the realm of possibility. And so I want to look back at 2026 and say, did I do everything I could to lead to improvements in our community? And the hospital comes to mind. I mean, Premier Ford, to his tremendous credit, said he'd be the 800-pound gorilla fighting for the hospital. Well, now he's got not just myself, but also Anthony Liardi, MPP for Essex, there pushing forward for that project to happen. So no need for more delays. We are working hard to get that off the ground, and that that will be worth it if we can make sure that sees the light of day. Which has been committed to by our government, and being here, showing the support, not just tepid support, but actual outright support, that gets felt throughout the caucus, and the importance of that project is heard. I mean, there are a whole host of issues that I want to address that are local delays on certain things that stakeholders are looking for, and residents that they're having difficulty with their paperwork. A number of issues. I want to make sure people's lives are left better than they are for us having been there on a general basis. And on the economic development front, look, I've seen the hills and valleys of our economy growing up, and so I'm just delighted to have my positions on both the Finance Committee and as parliamentary assistant to the Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade Ministry, because young people, from my generation and many others, have had to leave the community in order to find the kinds of careers that they find fulfilling. And that's not the future that I want to see take place. And so being able to advocate for our industry in our region, where it matters, in providing employment for many Windsorites and residents of Essex County, that's going to be tremendous, and to show support for our local industry where they need it to get infrastructure such as broadband, getting support for equipment to keep them going on the world stage, and dealing with employment issues, especially availability of employment. Where do you find the workforce? And so this government has made a special effort to work on the certifications and credentials, especially for those who are international graduates and who are finding it difficult to get the experience requirement in Canada that previously existed. And we're addressing that. We need the workforce today. And Canadian experience doesn't necessarily trump experience in other countries. I mean, work is work. And if you can demonstrate that you can do the job, it doesn't really matter how you got your experience if you demonstrate aptitude.
No, I think these are all great things, and I'm excited. I'm excited for the next 4 years. Not being a resident of the Windsor-Tecumseh riding, it is great to see that, from what you mentioned, there's now going to be 3 800-pound gorillas going for the hospital. So I think that's fantastic. It's something our region needs. All parties aside, political affiliations aside, it's a no-brainer, right? Too many years have gone by where we haven't had a hospital, and now we have 3 800-pound gorillas, in Windsor, Essex. So it's great news, and I'm excited to see what the next 4 years hold for you, Andrew.
No, well, I'm just excited to serve, and I want to thank the voters of Windsor-Tecumseh for not only taking a chance on me, but really taking a chance on having a PC representative, first time in 93 years. And look, that did not go unnoticed up here at Queen's Park. I mean, it got the attention of the government, and they do not want to let us down because they know full well that this is something out of character, and that they want to prove to our community that it was very much worth it. And I'm looking forward to ensuring that we are delivering for the community, and ensuring that Windsor Essex gets everything that it needs to be a great place to live, great place to grow up, and to raise a family.
Awesome. Well, Andrew, I know you have to go back to the legislator. You have some meeting or something after.
Yeah, the caucus meeting which right. Actually, it's going on right now. So I will have to run, but I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you, Lyndon. It's grateful for it.
Thanks, Andrew, and thanks to those for tuning in. You can check out all episodes on Coffee with Crainer.